Hello, friends, and welcome back
Hello.
to Death Before Booze, a true crime paranormal podcast. I don't know why I'm talking like that. Yay! Oh, okay. What's new? What's going on? Do we have any announcements? I don't think so.
No. I think we're good.
That's good.
I think we're fine. I think
we're just here. Oh my gosh. So first off, know that we do have a couple things to say. I want to say thank you to everybody who's been liking our stuff on social media and sharing it and commenting. That really, really helps get our stuff in front of more people, which is fantastic and amazing.
Yeah.
And we're so excited about that. Please keep telling your friends to listen and subscribe and rate us on all of the different things. That helps us so much because we really are starting to build momentum, and it's exciting to see all the analytics. I'm like an analytics junkie. And I know this is probably stuff you're not supposed to say, but just thank you so much for all the support you guys have been giving us. I mean, I know it's hard to join Patreon and, you know, with a recession coming and everything else.
In this economy.
Exactly. It's hard to support us that way, and we completely understand. But you can also support us in these ways, and you guys are being so phenomenal and so loving and so supportive. And I just want to say, Jen and I really appreciate it, and we see it, and
it's great.
Amazing. So thank you guys so much for all of your support. And that's it. That's my little PSA today.
And we're going to continue to do some cool stuff here. Like, we have some pretty good cases, some cool Patreon stuff planned, but this allows us to give us, to let us do this.
Yeah.
So it's been fun.
All your support helps us keep going. So, and it's just a fun hobby for us, but we want to be able to keep doing it. So thank you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that I've gotten all, sentimental and sobby, Jen, what is our topic for today?
Today we are talking about silver screen slays.
Silver screen slay. All right. So this is episode 81 and 81 episodes. Oh my goodness. Shit, guys. Thank you so much.
I know we're going to say that for another. We're going to say that.
We're going to hit 100. We should do something special. We need to start thinking about it now, though, because we always wait till the last minute about shit.
I know.
So,
it's okay.
Well,
guys, tell us what we should do.
Yeah, tell us what. Let's put that out there now. Tell us what we should do, for our 100th episode, because we're gonna do something cool. And we're actually, oh my gosh, we're actually in the works of doing our first crossover episode with somebody. So it's so exciting. All right, so I'm gonna go first, and I'm gonna do it like I did the trains episode. So picture it. Sicily, 1912. No. I mean, we are in 1912. So picture it. You're in your bed in your stateroom. It's late. And you're jolted awake by a horrible, loud scraping sound. All the while, you feel the room around you shaking. You sit up. Your heart is pounding. What could have caused that? You quickly get out of bed and put on your dressing robe. You leave your room and see many of your neighbors sticking their heads out of their doors, too, asking you if you know anything. You answer no, but you will find out some information. You stop a steward and ask them what happened, and you're told that there's no danger, that the ship had thrown a propeller blade, and you are also told to go back to your stateroom and retrieve your life jacket. After conveying this information, the steward immediately walks away. Peculiar. Before turning back, you check the time on the clock, and it's almost midnight. You realize you didn't go to bed very long ago, and although your husband usually keeps later hours than you hope he returns from the smoking lounge soon. You make your way back to your room to get dressed and find your life jacket. You stop a different steward and order some tea to be brought to your room. Also, to get word to your husband that you request his return to the room. As you make your way down the corridor, you pass on what you heard to a few of your friends, and you run into a few of your friends and you pass on the information. As you're all chatting, a different steward interrupts and asks all of the ladies to please return to your stateroom, retrieve your life jackets, and meet in the grand salon for additional instructions. As the steward moves on, you make eye contact with the group. One rolls her eyes, one looks at you, and you're just as confused as when you were woken up. You finally get back to your stateroom. You're waiting for your tea and your maid to help you get dressed, and all you really want to do is go back to bed, but you have to deal with whatever this is. It's April 14th, 1912. You are sailing from New York on the RMS Titanic. However, that same ship will be hitting the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean in 2 hours and 40 minutes. April 15th, 1912 at 2:20 a.m., leaving 1,496 casualties, estimated 815 passengers and 688 crew, dying from hypothermia, heart attacks, or drowning, and 20 lifeboats floating in the darkness, waiting for rescue. This is Titanic.
This is Titanic.
Bum, bum, bum!
This is finally where Sam gets to talk about Titanic.
I'm so excited. Okay, this is an absolute tragedy, but I was a Titanic girl. So everybody's seen James Cameron's 1998 masterpiece Titanic, starring the gorgeous Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leo
And
DiCaprio.
the absolutely stunning Kate Winslet. And I'm going to tell you, man, if I went both ways, that girl, I'm in. She's one of mine. Her and Mila Kunis, I could see it. Some other amazing actors in this movie were Billy Zane, Kathy Bates, Victor Garber, Jonathan Hyde, and Bill Paxton. It had a production budget of $200 million and brought in $1.84 billion worldwide, the highest grossing movie of all time. And it held this title until the next blockbuster by James Cameron, when it came out in 2010. You want to guess what that was?
Is it Black Hawk Down? Oh, no, it's Avatar.
Right? It's Avatar.
Avatar.
Yeah.
Avatar.
The Library of Congress actually selected this movie for preservation in the United States National Film Registry for being, quote, culturally, historically, and aesthetically similar in 2017. So here are a few fun facts about Titanic that you might not know. And no, I'm not padding my case. These are fun things you should know. There were only 2 bathrooms for all 700 people staying in third class. There was a heated swimming pool for the first class passengers. Most liners at the time did not have pools on them. This was like a big deal.
Whoa. Where the hell was it? I didn't see
It
that
was
in the
inside.
movie.
It was inside. It was an indoor pool. Titanic had its own newspaper called the Atlantic Daily Bulletin. It was prepared on board the ship. And in addition to news articles and advertisements, it contained the daily menus for the ship, the latest stock prices, horse racing results, and society gossip.
That's neat.
There were only enough lifeboats to save about a third of the passengers, if at full capacity. The Titanic could have held 60 lifeboats, but management said that they cluttered the decks. Had they had 60 lifeboats, it would have been more than enough for the 2,224 passengers and crew on board. Titanic had 2 sister ships, the RMS Olympic, which launched in 1910 and was scrapped in 1935. And then there was the HMHS Britannic, launched in 1914 and was sunk by a mine on November 21st in 1916. Okay. Oof. So Titanic, the story has been beaten to death. I'm not covering the actual Titanic. We all know that the RMS company labeled Titanic as a practically unsinkable ship, and it was practically unsinkable. Nowhere did they actually say this is an unsinkable ship. That's a common misconception. We all know that the inquiry after changed a lot of maritime laws, and no one was charged, jailed, or really held accountable for this actual sinking of Titanic. But some people have doubts about how Titanic sank. There are also doubts that it was Titanic that sunk. And like all major historical events, people need to hash out every single little detail. So let's chat about some of the conspiracy theories around the sinking of the Titanic.
Conspiracy.
We gotta stop.
I feel like it's like the Twilight Zone.
It
It's
really
like,
is.
We're now entering the Twilight Zone.
Okay, so I've never really looked into conspiracy theories until just now. And it was on Modern Family. Oh my God. So there's an episode of Modern Family where Claire says something about Titanic sinking and Phil's like, well, if it did. And she's like, Phil, the Titanic sunk. And I was like, what conspiracy? Like, what are you talking about? Like, of course the Titanic sunk. And Ken's like, no, people say that it wasn't the Titanic. And this was like just a couple weeks ago. And then I realized this episode was coming out on April 15th. And I was like, I told Jen before, I had a whole other case planned. Like I was halfway through my research and I completely scrapped it and was like, no, we're covering this. So if you know about more about these conspiracy theories, please write in. If you've heard other conspiracy theories, please write in. If I get it wrong, hey bitch, tell me. I'm so ready to be told I'm wrong because I think this is incredible that like people think this way. But let me know on social media, email me, our website, on the episode itself, on Spotify and Apple, you can leave comments. People, let me know. I need to know. So also, as I'm doing these, I'm going to be debunking them. Like, so I'll say it, and then I'm going to debunk it. So if somebody thinks I'm wrong or has more to add, do you, boo. I'm so ready.
Keep listening.
I need to know.
You'll get it.
So the first theory is that there was a fire in the hull. So back in the early 1900s, ships were done by coal. Like, they ran by coal. You throw coal in the furnace, and that's what burned and caused the ship to go forward. Unless you're on a steamship, but that's a whole different thing. So you're burning coal. There were times where the coal could spontaneously combust and cause a fire in the hull. But this is something that the crew knew what to do with. People who worked in the furnaces by the engines, they knew what to do. So they would go in and either douse the flame or move the coal away and then take the burning coal and throw that in the furnace really quick. And then they would move the coal and redistribute it. So yes, 10 days prior to the actual voyage on April 12th or 10th, whatever it was, a fire broke out in one of the coal holding spots.
Oh, before it even went anywhere.
Yeah, so it was coming from Belfast to England to pick everybody up. And this happened, and they took care of it. They moved the coal from one compartment to the other, and then the part that was on fire, they doused and threw into the furnace. Like, no big deal. But the thought is that because this was on the side where Titanic scraped the iceberg. So the thought is that because of this fire, it caused the hull to be screwed up. I don't know the word, like not contaminated, but, you know, altered in a sense. And that's why it ripped open the side of Titanic and let all the water in. Okay, well, first off, that's not true. It was a small fire. It was taken care of quickly. And like I said, they moved the coal very quickly from one room to the other and fixed it. Now, the thought process that Titanic had this huge gash isn't really true. There were larger holes, but it wasn't like it ripped open. When it scraped against the iceberg, there really were just a whole bunch of like paper thin rips and cuts. There was like hundreds of them through about 6 of the 16 compartments that were there. I'm going to explain the whole compartment thing in a couple of minutes. But it was a whole bunch of little gashes, not like a huge ripping hole like everybody kind of thinks.
So the little gashes are what eventually like got...
That's why...
You're trying to take the water out of the boat and it's like still getting...
Yeah, but it wasn't like it all just gushed in. Like, I'm sure it did. There was a lot of pressure, but it was a whole bunch of little gashes, not a huge hole. And it's actually argued that because this fire happened and they moved coal from one side of the boat to the other, it helped distribute weight better. So when the water was coming in, it didn't capsize on its side. Oh. So it's almost like this should have happened. You know what I mean? Like, to me, the conspiracy is what divine intervention had this fire start so they would move the coal so they would have more time to get more people off the boat.
More interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it could have, I mean, I guess again, balance it out. I didn't realize it could have gone the other way. Interesting.
Yeah. So instead of it going down from the front like it did, it would have capsized to a side because that side had so much coal in it, and that's where the water went in.
Got it.
Okay. Another theory about Titanic sinking is it would have been slower had they left the watertight doors open. Okay. So now I need to explain a little bit about this. If you know, fast forward a smidge, but I have to explain what's going on here. So the Titanic was built with a brand new technology of these watertight compartments, and there were 16 of them on Titanic. And the most rudimentary way for me to explain this is that in creating these compartments, all these compartments were connected by doors so that people and crew could get through. So the watertight doors were used, they could be commanded from the bridge. Like, the bridge was like, all right, I need to shut this down. There's water coming in. They'd hit a button or a lever, and it would shut all the doors. So if you were in one of these compartments and the watertight doors shut, you were done. Like, in the movie where they're running and the guy's, like, diving under the door, that was it. Like, if you were stuck there, you weren't getting out. So there were 16 compartments, and they would close these doors. But the bulkheads, or the walls, only went up to D or E deck. So at some point, the water would get up there. These compartments would fill. And if, let's say, compartment 1 filled to the top, the water would go over and start filling into the next one. But the problem was that, because of how the Titanic hit the iceberg, 6 of these compartments were damaged. So 6 of these compartments were taking on water. Now, had Titanic only had the first 4, the balance of the boat, it could still sail. But the pumps couldn't keep up to keep the water out of all 6 compartments or even 4 compartments. So the water filled up the first one, moved into the second one, moved into the third, and it just kept going back and back and back. And that's why Titanic, when it sank, it went up in the air, ass up.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
All
now,
right.
Had these bulkheads gone up higher past, like, to decks A and B, we probably would have had it still would have gone down, but it would have been much slower, and more help would have been able to come. So, and another thing, I don't know if I have this in here, but it's actually said that, like, in the movies and everything, the way that the ship goes fully ass up, that probably didn't happen because of how the joints were set up in the Titanic. It probably only got, like, a little bit out of the water, about 11-degree angle, and then snapped.
Right. Okay.
Like, there's just so much steel and so much pressure that it would not have been able to go that high up. Like,
go all the high.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Okay. So, connected to doors. So now what people are saying is, had they left the doors open, the bottom would have filled up evenly, and it would have taken longer for the water to come up. Make that make sense to me, because if I'm leaving all the doors open and the water's gushing in, just because it disperses to the back more, it's still going to fill up more. Like, I feel like it takes longer for water to come in and go up than it is to fill the entire bottom of the ship.
Yeah, it's not a pool. Like, I see, like, what
exactly.
I can understand.
Like, if you had a pool with all walls in it, and then you like had holes in the walls, like, the water's going to gush more and fill up more faster. Like, instead of if you close it, it's going to take longer for those to go. And so instead of this, I know you can't see my hands if you're listening somewhere else, because I'm making all these crazy hand gestures right now. But, like, they're saying, like, the boat would have sunk evenly and just gone down, and it would have taken longer, so they would have had more time. And I'm like, I don't see it, bro. I don't.
I understand how someone might think that way, because, again, when, like, you're filling up a pool and you're like, oh, well, it takes a while to fill up because it goes all the way to the end and kind of but, like, you're right, if you cut it off, it just, I don't know, I don't really see that either.
And then my other point for this is that while the Titanic was sinking, there were very brave crew members who stayed below deck and kept filling the engines to keep the electric going so that people would remain calm and not be in pitch black. Because you got to remember, it's April. They're in the middle of the ocean. Yeah. The only thing they have is starlight, and the starlight was limited. There was no moon that night.
And it was cold.
Oh, it was cold in the Atlantic.
It's freaking cold.
So they stayed down there and just kept, had they left all the doors open, the engine rooms would have been completely flooded. There would have been no electricity left on the boat.
Right. So that defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
Without even explaining the whole other.
Yeah. So I kind of feel like, yeah, there was no point to leave the doors open. Everything would have been worse. Also, I found this really amazing quote from Charles Lightoller. So he was the highest ranking crew member to survive. He got on a boat. He was one of the people who had to direct the boats. So he said of like the people, so like in all the movies you see people pushing and yelling and screaming and trying to get on the boats, and like there's just utter panic.
Yes.
Lightoller is saying there was no jostling or pushing or crowding, whatever. He testified at the British inquiry. The men all refrained from asserting their strength and from crowding back the women and children. So they let the women and children go first. They're like, go. They could not have stood quieter if they had been in church.
Interesting.
Like, and I read another thing that like first class, like obviously third class knew shit was up because they did get locked down to try and give first and second the right of way. But they did start getting water. They saw water almost immediately in some parts of the ship, and they were like, we gotta fucking go. But I saw that a lot of first class, like they felt the jolt, they heard the scratching, and like everybody kind of was like, yeah, go get your life jacket. We're all gonna kind of chill. It's nothing crazy. It's just people like didn't care. Like they went back to their room and hung out. They didn't listen. Like when they got on deck, they were like, oh, it's just a night. This is ridiculous. And some of them, even as the ship was at that 11-degree angle, they're like, this is kind of weird. Like they had no fucking clue. No clue what was going on until all the boats were gone. And then they started and then you could hear people screaming for help.
Right. You know, it's really interesting because I do remember like that portion of the movie where it's like the wealthier people have their life jackets on and they're like, what's going on? This is such an inconvenience. And they're like, okay, go back to your room. I'll bring you something. And I'm just like, yeah, it is interesting because you're right. Like that's floors below them that there's complete chaos. And it's like
the chaos never hit first class until too late. Like a lot,
right?
I think a lot of
they
them
were like, "Oh shit!"
A lot of the men realized like what was going on, but they all hid it from the women. So like women and children crying and being like, "It's the end, hold me." Like there was one woman who was like, "If I knew this is what was going to happen, I never would have gotten on that lifeboat."
Right.
And then there's that day there was actually a scheduled not rehearsal. What is that? Like a practice run for like a fire drill for the lifeboats, like a lifeboat drill. Like they were scheduled to do it and they canceled it because first class people were like, they planned something else. So they were like, we kind of want to do this instead. And the boat's like, yeah, cool, no problem. We'll do something else. Like we'll schedule it for a different time then. And they just never scheduled it and that happened.
That's insane.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not either, but yeah. So now here's, this one to me is absolutely absurd because okay. So the theory is that the White Star Line, the people who own the boat, created the boat, swapped the Olympic and Titanic. So it's actually that the Olympic went under, not the Titanic, and they scrapped the Titanic. So, go ahead.
What was the reason why they scrapped? Okay.
I'm coming to it. This is what the theory is, but the Olympic wasn't scrapped until 1935 or 34.
Right.
So the theory is that the Olympic had its own accident, which it did in September of 1912 or 11, something like that. And they needed to fix it, and the cost was kind of absurd. And so the White Star Line had also kind of started financially going downhill. So they figured if they switched the ships and sank the Olympic but called it the Titanic, they could collect the insurance money. And because the Titanic was newer, they would get more money for it. Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I mean, it's... The idea is there.
I can understand.
But it's all bullshit because...
Yeah.
You can't just change nameplates. Like, you can't just paint over Titanic and Olympic and rewrite the name. That's not how this goes. So, although the Olympic and the Titanic looked very similar, there were major structural differences. And a few easy ways to just look at it is the A-deck windows of the main promenade on Titanic were closed. And the A-deck promenade on the Olympic was wide open. And on the wreckage on the bottom, it's closed windows on the promenade. Huh. So right off the bat, there you go. Also,
there it is.
Titanic's bridge had wings that extended over the sides. So, like, the captain could walk out and, like, look down and see ocean. It wasn't, like, looking out a window and trying to look down. Like, there was a little room off of both sides so he could see what was going on. The Olympics bridge was flush with the hull, so there were no little extra things. And then if you're familiar with this theory, you might be saying, Sam, the portholes. So when Titanic first showed up on the scene, it only had 14 portholes. So in May of 1911, they were like, okay, 14 portholes, that's great. While the Olympic had 16. Well, when they were driving the boat and doing their test runs for the propeller, they realized there's not enough light in first class. So they added 2 more portholes before its maiden voyage. So both Titanic and Olympic had 16 portholes. And as for the insurance money, when the Titanic sank, it was only insured for a $5 million payout. It cost $7.5 million to build each the Titanic and the Olympic. So $15 million for both of them together. And like I said, the Olympic did have its accident in September of 1911, but it had already been repaired, and it only cost $125,000. So yes, that is a lot, but it's not for a ship company like the end of the world. Okay?
It's not like the boat is totaled, and they're like, all right, let's just send it out and see what happens. Like, it's not.
Exactly. So everything was already fixed, repaired, done. It was a moot point. Plus, no one explains how they would have sunk the ship if the iceberg wasn't there. Like, there's no explanation for that. It's not like they were like, ooh, an iceberg and an explosion happened. No, they actually hit an iceberg.
Yeah.
So I don't think Mr. Murtaugh was like, oh, let me turn the ship. Like, that's not what happened.
And also, maybe I'm going too far. Maybe you're going to hit on this. With the Olympics accident, was it on the same? It was the same side.
I believe
it was like the
so.
Exact, but it was the exact same.
It wasn't in the same spot. It was up. It was further in the front, and it was a huge fucking hole. Like, it was a massive fucking hole.
What did they hit?
I don't know. I didn't look into that. I should have, but I didn't. We're talking about Titanic here, not her sister. No, I'm kidding.
I was just
not about the Olympic, Jen. It's about Titanic.
But I only, the reason I brought it up was simply because I'm like, well, then if people knew where the Olympic was destroyed and they had to rebuild, is it the same spot? Because if it is the same spot, then you can be like, okay, then that makes, but it's not.
I believe it's on the same side. There is a picture of the whole of the Olympic, and like I have pictures on the blog. Go check them out. But yeah. Okay. So the other part is every ship is issued a shipyard number as it's being built to make sure all the pieces stay together. So all the major pieces of a boat have this special number. So Olympic's number was 400 and Titanic's number was 401. And it's easily seen on different parts of the wreckage that the number 401 is embossed on all the correct places. So this is definitely Titanic. And my final point is there was a stewardess named Violet Jessup. Oh my God, I sound like you. And to... You know, this is my theory, and here are my supporting arguments.
And here's my support.
I sound like you now. But, so there was one stewardess.
To be fair.
To be fair, though. No.
To be fair.
So, Violet Jessup worked on both ships. She survived the Titanic sinking and then went and worked on the Olympic. So, she would know that the two ships were different, and she didn't work on the same fucking ship.
I think I know this lady because I think she went through a lot of
Oh, she had a life. She did shit. Yeah, this poor one. Ooh. She was something else.
We'll come back to her because I think that I know the name where she literally, like, she was survivor on that one. She was survivor on the Titanic. She was survivor on a whole bunch of other shipwrecks too. And you're like,
you should not go on ships anymore. Like, you're
you
done.
Just stay on the ground.
You're done.
Just stay in
Don't
your
get
house.
on a plane. Don't get on a train.
Don't
like, you are just fucking
Goddamn.
Debbie fucking Downer. Don't do it.
Just stay there.
Yeah, sit down. But so, like, she knew that it was there, and she testified to that. And there were hundreds of other workers who had worked on both ships. Like, what are they going to do? Pay them all off and be like, yeah, no, say it's different. You don't know anything. Like, they're not going to do that. They're saying they can't pay $125,000 for a hole in their other ship. How could they pay all these people off to do this? Just saying.
I agree. I think this was a nice thought where someone was like, wait a minute, the other ship. And it's like, yeah, but...
I get it, because when the posters first came out for Titanic wasn't fully made yet. So they used pictures of the Olympic to make the posters.
There it
is.
is.
So there's another confusing point for people being like, no, look. And it's like, no, I get it, but you're wrong. And that's okay that you're wrong, but you're wrong.
It's okay.
It's okay. You're not correct. Cute. You tried. Thank you. Sit down now.
You tried.
Thank you. Sit down. Okay. So now, another conspiracy. Well, this is my final conspiracy theory, and then I have a really weird one that I just threw in at the last minute.
It's not aliens.
Why do you ruin all my fun? No, it's not aliens.
I'm sorry.
It's not aliens. It's something like it's in the same vein, but it's not aliens.
It's not aliens.
So this is like the biggest conspiracy theory, and it's proven wrong, but it's a good story. So here's the tea. J.P. Morgan is all set to sail on Titanic. And we all know J.P. Morgan, he owns banks. He started the bank in Europe. So did the Rothschilds. Like, all these people are involved. So he's getting ready to get on Titanic. As well as John Jacob Astor, who is the richest man in the United States at the time. And he owns 40% of all the mortgages in the United States. Then you have Isidore Straus. He is the co-owner of Macy's department store with his brother Nathan. You also have Benjamin Guggenheim, who's a big-time businessman and one of the wealthiest men on the ship, up there with JJ, okay? We're friends, me and JJ. We know each other. We're friends. I can call him that. Fun fact about Benjamin Guggenheim. So, the Guggenheim Museum in New York City, the one that looks like a parking garage. Okay. It's actually named for his brother Solomon, because his brother Solomon donated a whole bunch of money for it to be built. But everybody thinks it's this guy Benjamin because he died in the Titanic. How much does that suck for Solomon? I'm so sorry, but I'm just letting. It's really for Solomon. It is not for Benjamin. But again, really, really wealthy guy, businessman on the Titanic. So now J.P. Morgan and the Rothschilds, they want to start a centralized bank. But Mr. Astor, Mr. Straus, and Mr. Guggenheim, as well as other rich people on the Titanic, were like, yeah, no, we don't want that. And they had more money put together than J.P. Morgan and the Rothschilds. So they kept, bribing the politicians to knock it down. So the story is that the day of, J.P. Morgan gets on board. Him and his family, they're on board. They're ready to go. And minutes before departure, they're like, get our shit. We're done. We're getting off the boat. And magically it sails away. And J.P. Morgan and the Rothschilds are the reason that the boat perished. They paid off people to get the boat to go down, so all the people who opposed them would go down with it, and they could get their hands on the politicians and bribe them and have their centralized bank.
I really, really like the story.
It's a great fucking story.
It's a great
amazing story. It's bullshit.
I don't think that these billionaires thought enough ahead to be like, you know what we could do? I don't think so.
Well,
I think that this was to them just a happy accident.
Yeah,
again,
it's a tragic accident, but they benefited from it.
Right, but for them, they benefited from it. So it's something. So I don't think that it's a very good story, and it's a very big whoa, that's crazy. But
So J.P. Morgan...
It's a twist in a thriller novel. It's not...
Yes. And this is where I'm going to ruin it for you because it's not great. So J.P. Morgan canceled his trip about a month prior to the Titanic's departure. And this was a huge deal because he was supposed to be one of the big names on it. But everybody knew that he had an issue in France with his art collection. So he cancels his ticket to go to France to deal with this issue. And I'm telling you, everybody knew it. It went like wildfire. J.P. Morgan canceled his trip. He's not going on the Titanic. Because he was, think about society back then. He was a big wig who was going on the Titanic, and now he's not going anymore.
Yes.
So it made the news. So did Milton Hershey. Milton Hershey bailed on the Titanic, but he bailed because he had to get back to the United States before Titanic even went on because there was an issue at the factory in Pennsylvania. So he canceled his trip a few months in advance. Sense. And then the Rothschilds are said to have gotten involved and orchestrated the entire thing because they were with J.P. Morgan and wanted the centralized bank. But the Washington Post notes, quote, invoking the Rothschilds as an international conspirator is a centuries-old anti-Semitic trope.
Oh.
The Rothschild family founded banking houses across Europe in the early 1800s, and they have been a favorite target of conspiracy theorists ever since. So it's like the Rothschilds weren't getting on the boat. Yes, they wanted the centralized bank, but they still had their own money. They had their own banks. What the fuck did it matter? Like,
right.
They had their own shit that they were making plenty of money off of, and they didn't need anything to do with the Titanic. But because they're a big name, and they wanted what J.P. Morgan wanted, and J.P. Morgan didn't get on that boat, they kind of got pulled into it, too.
That's... he had an art thing he had to get to.
An art thing, man. His painting fell off the wall. He had to go fix it. I don't even know what the art thing was, but he had to go to France. He had to do his art thing. It was a huge deal.
But it wasn't like a last minute thing like they made it seem.
No,
like
it wasn't like he was on the boat and got a phone call. It was like, dude, your statue, the dick fell off. Oh my God, I have to go. Like, it wasn't a Heartbreakers moment where the dick fell off the statue. He knew in advance, and he was like, guys, I am so sorry. I cannot come to your party. I have a thing. And the thing was art.
But even though there was this back and forth between the two groups, they knew ahead of time. This is again where I'm like, I see where they went with this, but
it's a great story until you learn.
Until you're like, oh, it was just okay.
Super easy to find out even back then. Like, no, J.P. Morgan canceled over a month in advance. Like, he wasn't going on this boat. It made the news. This is where
rumors start, guys.
So
that's incredible.
Is that a great one? That's a good one.
It's a fantastic story because you're like, whoa, there's all kinds of like betrayal and there's this blackmail.
You kind of picture them like in a dark alley, like the Rothschilds, and like J.P. Morgan being like, oh, okay, here we go. This is what's going to happen. You need to cancel it. This needs to happen. And then
you need to cancel.
We need to make sure JJ's on the boat. So you need to get on the boat, get out, and then leave. And
also take this. This is a briefcase full of money.
Make sure you handcuff it to your arm. Start paying people. Craziness.
Great story.
Cool story, bro. Didn't hit.
Didn't happen.
So this one is the craziest one to me. They're saying it's a cursed mummy. A mummy, like an Egyptian mummy.
You know what?
Have you heard this one?
I feel like I've heard this theory.
So there's this one dude on board. His name is William Stead, who happily told the tale of a mummy's curse to anybody who would listen.
I mean,
this caused... Okay, so he's saying that the mummy was causing a mysterious destruction and disaster in London. But he wouldn't actually say what these horrible destructions... It was causing everything. Fucking Godzilla is this mummy, and he called him, and he's knocking buildings down. It's terrible. But after the ship sank, one survivor recounted Stead's story to the New York World, and that made the media pick it up. So the next month, the Washington Post runs the headline, quote, "Ghosts of the Titanic, Vengeance of Hoodoo Mummy Followed Man Who Wrote Its History."
That's really good.
Yeah, isn't that great?
I like it.
Okay. So this had a little bit of weight to it because Margaret Brown, who we all know as the unsinkable Molly Brown, actually had some Egyptian artifacts in her luggage. So somebody was like, hey, that really happened, because she was taking them to the Denver Museum. But there's another version of this story that it was the actual mummy was stowed on Titanic to be brought. It had been sold from the British Museum to an American who had it shipping via Titanic.
Is the mummy... Did they ever find the mummy? I assume.
Well, the so-called, quote, unlucky mummy is still at the British Museum. It had never left. There was no mummy on board the Titanic at all. There were some Egyptian artifacts. However, it was not this horrible, horrible mummy.
Perhaps they were cursed artifacts. We don't know.
We don't know, but they're saying the mummy did it. That was
but they're saying the mummy.
It's not aliens.
They're saying the mummy. It's the mummy's fault.
It's an Egyptian curse. So it's kind of the same vein.
Yeah.
It's always
something. Like aliens, the Egyptian curse, an Indian burial ground. Yep. They all kind of
mesh.
connect.
But before I'm done here, As I was researching, there is a brand new National Geographic documentary about the Titanic. So they sent these little cameras down, and they got a 3D digital print of the entire thing. So you can actually see the engines still. Like, the engines have not fully decomposed. They're still there. It's so cool. Like, I haven't gotten to watch it yet, but it's on Hulu or Disney Plus. It's called Titanic: The Digital Resurrection, and it was released on April 11th. So,
like 2025.
yeah,
last year.
No, like a couple of days ago, like Friday.
Wow.
So I need to watch it. If you're really into Titanic and you want to know more, go watch it. I saw some of the previews and stuff. It is incredible. Like I said, you can actually see the full detail of 3 of the main engines that are on the boat still. So, or the ship. I'm sorry, it's a ship. It's not a boat. So go watch that, and it's amazing. I cannot wait. I think I might make Ken watch it with me later today. Or I'm going to watch it tonight when I'm like pumping or something, because it's amazing.
Huh. Yeah. I didn't realize that they were coming out with new stuff. I again, because at the whole thing that happened in the little submarine thing.
Oh my God, please.
You know.
James Cameron actually like ripped into, I saw an interview while I was doing this, and he ripped into them, was like everything they did was wrong. He's like, I'm actually, like, they're currently working, like, you know, James Cameron, he is building another robot. Like, you know, he went down there in the robot so they could make Titanic. Like, a lot of the scenes that were in Titanic weren't digital. Like, those are actually filmed at the Titanic. So he built and he worked with people to get a submarine down there to do this. And he's like, no, we're building what they should have done to prove that you can go down that far, and they just did it wrong.
Oh, no.
When I was a kid, that's all I wanted to do. I was like, I'm going to get $1 million and I'm going to do this. And then that happened, and I was like, you guys are fucking stupid. Like, I'm sorry. It's tragic people died, but, like, are you serious? Like, you got into a tin can with a fucking, game controller.
Agreed.
Like, the second I walked out, the one kid didn't even want to go. He was terrified.
Nope.
Like, it just screams, no,
I'm good.
I have money and I need to do this to me. Sorry.
Right. And honestly, like, I feel like for James Cameron to have already, I feel like they had, like, again, they had robots and everything that can go down that far. I would never want to do that. And I mean, again, James Cameron, good for you. Because I think he's kind of obsessed with
Titanic's like his idea thing. He's a Titanic person like me, like obsessed. But
so it makes sense.
Yeah. And again, I'm sorry for what I said about the people. It's very tragic that they died. I'm very sad that they died. No. They didn't deserve to die. But the humans who ran that company are stupid.
Oh, absolutely.
That's who I'm saying is stupid. I'm not saying the victims. I'm saying once I saw it, I would have been off in a second. I'd be like, nah, this is not for me. And
unfortunately, you trust the people that are like, and that's,
and if you're
that's
paying
the issue,
that much money, you think, oh my God, this has to be safe. Yeah,
exactly. It's unfortunate. Yes. It sucks, but and so I'm actually really surprised that they put out another like documentary type of thing. So that's interesting.
Every couple of years, as technology grows, they go back down there and they try and learn more, because a lot of the accounts. Okay, so a lot of the accounts when it went down. When the inquiry is happening, I'm sorry, I'm going way over today, but when the inquiry was happening, a lot of the survivors were women. So a lot of the inquiries and the testimonies were from women. However, the few men who made it on board, they were like, no, that didn't happen. That's not how this happened. It happened like this. So there are a lot of contradicting accounts. So now with all the technology, they're learning all these things. So like the men were like, the ass was way up. But when they went down and studied and now they can see all the joints, they're like, I don't really think that happened. And they only learned that like 5 years ago. So as technology is growing, they're really learning what happened on board, what the series of events was. Like James Cameron is very close to very great depiction, but it's probably not exactly what happened. A lot of it is Hollywood. Yeah. I mean, we already know there was no Rose DeWitt Decatur on board, but there was a Jack Dawson.
I think I heard that. I've
seen his grave. Like, it's in Nova Scotia. There was a Jack Dawson. Like, so.
Oh.
And I believe he was in third class or he was part of the crew. So he definitely caught a lot of great points, but it's probably off a little bit. I mean, my favorite is Neil deGrasse Tyson has been after James Cameron for years because the star pattern that's there isn't the correct star pattern for April 15th, 1912.
That's
so
funny.
He called him out, and he's like, dude, what were you thinking? Like, why didn't you call me? I could have had this done for you in a second. And James Cameron's like, yeah, cool, bro, it's fine. And then when they digitalized it for like the DVD and the 10th anniversary, Neil deGrasse Tyson was like, dude, you're gonna fix it, right? And he didn't. He left it, and he's like, you suck. Like, this is like, yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So, okay. I'm so sorry. I went way over today.
That's exciting.
It's a lot. It's a lot. I can talk about this for
I'm
hours.
just excited because Sam's things are the Mob and the Titanic.
And Salem Witch Trials. Like, those are my threads.
And Salem Witch Trials. So those are, the fact that you got to talk about the Titanic was fun. Because I saw it and I was like, oh my God, we're talking about the Titanic. This is great. So
that and Henry VIII.
Right.
I can also go on about his 6 wives for hours. Like, I don't know what's wrong with
you. Do know a lot of
those are my tisms. Those are like, your hyper focus. Those are my hyper focuses. Really, like I could talk about those just for hours and hours.
That is
hours.
Really funny.
Yep.
That is really funny. Okay,
I feel so happy right now.
No, I love it. I love that. So mine's actually pretty short because I kind of had to. Didn't have a lot of extra information, but I'm going to talk about Phil Hartman.
Oh my goodness! When I saw this, I was like,
we know.
It took me a second. He's like one of those guys who's in all the movies, but like you never really like put it together.
He's got the iconic voice from The Simpsons. He has all that. I'm Troy McClure, and like who it is, but you're
what's his name? Who's this guy? I know him in everything. What's his name? Yeah, he's one of those.
Exactly. He's one of those. So Phil Hartman was born in September 1948 in Brantford, Ontario. So he was
Canada.
From Canada.
He was a Canadian.
So
Canada.
Yeah.
Hi, Canada, the 3 people who listen. Thank you so much. We love you, Canada. Thank you.
Yeah, see, we're still friends with you.
We'll be your friends.
Anyway.
We want you to stay your own country. I mean, if you wanted to be with us, that's totally cool, but we're totally cool
I don't
with
want you to
being your own country.
I don't think you want to be.
I get it, bro. We totally get it. Like, shout out to you.
I think you guys are awesome. So
keep it going.
Keep doing your thing.
Boo. Do you.
So he was the 4th of 8 children of Doris and Rupert Hartman.
What is wrong with you?
I know. I saw
them.
it. It came in, and I just said,
just do it.
If it's over 5, I always am like,
you find them.
So, yeah, I know.
Oh God, her poor vagina.
So, Rupert Hartman actually sold building materials. It was said that Phil had like his affection, he had to earn affection from his family. So he sought love and affection elsewhere because it kind of seemed like no matter what he did, it kind of was just like blah. Could be because you have 8 children. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know
kind
how
of
things
thin.
work.
I mean, I have a dog and a baby, and that's really. I always feel bad. I'm like, who doesn't have enough love right now? I'm sorry.
So when he was 10, the family moved to the U.S. They first lived in Maine.
Ooh.
And then they moved to Meriden, Connecticut.
Oh my God, I've been there.
Yeah.
I've gotten
and
lost
then they went
there.
to the West Coast.
Oh.
So,
bye.
But I mean, like, it's kind of neat that it was like, I was a Connecticut. And I'm like, oh, okay.
It all comes back.
Exactly. He studied at Santa Monica City College. He dropped out because he became a roadie for a rock band.
Get the fuck out.
Like, if you look at his picture, you're like, this guy was a roadie for a rock. It's just so
He's
funny.
Like too pretty for that. Too preppy.
I know.
So that's what I'm trying to say. Preppy, not pretty.
Yeah, but still, like, he kind of, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit.
No.
But he came back in 1972 to finish his degree in graphic arts at California State University.
That's a good one.
And then he operated his own graphic art business and created more than 40 album covers for bands, including Poco and America. I knew America. I didn't know
I don't
Poco.
know either of them, but I'm still really fucking impressed.
But, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He started taking comedy classes in 1975 by the improv, and he started kind of seeing this improv group, the Groundlings. During one performance, he impulsively jumped on stage to join them, and within a year, he became part of the group. It was just like...
That is amazing.
Huh. So I think it's kind of neat that they called themselves the groundlings, because that's what they called people at the Shakespeare Theater. Like the ones who could, like the ones who had the, like they were the...
I didn't even put
like
that together.
The pit area.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I thought that was cute.
That is cute.
So Phil then started working for alongside Paul Rubens, rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
And the two created Pee Wee Herman. And they created a live show that aired.
Herman? Oh my god.
That's it.
I kept seeing it pop up.
Yeah.
But I was like, what is going on?
He also co-wrote the script for Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Like, isn't that crazy? Like, that's just, like,
he did, like, everything.
They created the character together, and then I'm like, what? This guy's crazy. So, he did think about quitting acting because at 36, he was finding it hard to find a job. He worked small roles, and then he joined the cast of Saturday Night Live in 1986.
There it is.
And then there it is. He got his jumping off point, and there it was.
Yep.
So he did. He was on the cast until 1994.
Oh.
He did voice acting on The Simpsons.
Love that.
Along with other shows. He was also in news radio.
I remember that show. That was... I used to really like that show. That was one of the ones me and my mom would watch back in the day. It was a goodie.
Which
news
one?
radio. Isn't that like a show? I remember him being on like a show.
I think so.
I'm pretty
I guess
sure
so.
I watched it because I remember him being on a show in like a suit all the time and like crazy shit would happen.
I didn't capitalize it, so that's my fault. I didn't capitalize it, so
You're
I just
fine.
thought it was news radio in general. But also he did an array of movies. Again, he was he's very good at playing like the shit-eating grin guy. Like, I love Jingle All the Way.
He
love that.
Infuriates me in that movie. I want to punch him in the face. What was the other movie that was there? It was that one?
I love it.
Oh my god, but every time he's in that movie, I'm like, I tell Ken
You're
every
like,
year,
I
I'm like,
hate
I
you.
would have thrown
hate
the eggnog at him so much sooner. If he came into my house and
Such a
was
good
like, go
movie.
take a shower and I'll do the cookies, I'd be like, get the fuck out of my house. Why are you here? That's what I kept saying. I was like, why does he just walk into that? He's putting lights up on the house. I'd be like, get the fuck away from my house. Like, we're neighbors, but we're not like
very
that.
creepy.
Like, you're too much. You're doing too much. Take it down.
So, but he had like the best characters to the point where you were infuriated by them because his...
Yes, he was so... And his face. Like, his facial expression.
His facial expression.
With the fucking reindeer.
Perfect.
Oh my god.
Perfect.
He was so good.
I mean, obviously, he's like right now it's escaping me. But
we
like,
named the reindeer Ted after me. He wanted to name it for me. Mom's outside petting Ted. What? Oh my god! Oh, these cookies!
the best movie. I know it's April, but guys, go watch that movie. It's so good. Oh my god! I think he was in Small Soldiers.
Yes,
too,
he was.
He
was the dad. That was the other movie I was thinking.
It's not a fantastic movie.
It's a terrible movie.
A fantastic movie.
But it's amazing. It's one of those like you have to watch it.
I love it. So, needless to say, we know his whole history, but his personal life was a little different. So, he got married in 1971, and then he got divorced in 1972.
Oh.
He remarried in 1982.
Wait, a different woman.
Got divorced 3 years later.
A different lady. Okay, good.
And then he got divorced 3 years later. So, had a tendency to kind of, not stay put for long. His second wife said he did have a tendency to be reclusive sometimes, which caused tension in the marriage. So instead of maybe talking through stuff, kind of
he would pull back
further away. So, okay. So now in 1987, Phil met actress Brynn Omdahl, or Omdale. Well, I don't know. Anyway, on a blind date. They got married a year later.
Okay.
See, a lot of people, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but a lot of people did say this happened really fast. It was a matter of like he became smitten and he just like everything went by the wayside. And he even had a friend who was like, I don't really think that you should go through with this. I think that And he got very frustrated with that person and was like, fuck you. Like, because it was, I get it. You don't want someone you care about to tell you you're making a terrible decision. But he was like, nope, this is going to work, that she's the one for me.
Okay, that's what...
Perfect.
Okay.
Right.
Do you, Boo?
Exactly.
You already have
Brynn,
a divorce lawyer. It's not like, you know, you got to find...
Like, I know, because...
By the third time, you're like, all right, let's just do this again.
Let's just, hey, I'm back.
Yeah, hey, do I have you on retainer yet? Because probably should.
If it's 2 times, you get one free.
Is that a thing? Get 2 divorces, get the next one free. I mean, I'm not making fun of people who get divorced. I mean, get married, get divorced. That's your thing.
Do what you want, and that's, but you know what? Funny. If that's what you want, it's
Don't
just,
stay in
you
a
know,
relationship
I
you're
feel
not
like it's
happy
very.
With. It's fine.
I feel like it's very expensive both ways, so just be very careful with that, because I don't know, you know.
If you got the money,
like divorce.
Fuck it. Go ahead.
I mean, yeah,
always sign a prenup.
That's true.
But other than that, fuck it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Who cares?
So Brynn had actually moved to LA to work as a model, and she was also pursuing a career in acting, because that's where everybody goes. She developed an addiction to cocaine.
Oh, fuck.
As she was struggling to find work.
Okay.
But was in recovery, and she was sober when she met Phil.
Okay.
So everything seemed okay. It was said, quote, when Phil met Brynn, he may as well have been in his most vulnerable state in years. His second marriage's ending had shaken him, and his performing career wasn't taking off.
Okay.
So it kind of makes sense that, like, he kind of was like, this is hard and fast. So they had 2 kids together, which is great, because he didn't have kids with any other.
How long were they together for?
Marriage. Up until 98.
Okay. So they had a good run.
So it's, yeah, well.
I'm assuming they get divorced.
Yeah.
Oh.
So.
Oh.
You didn't know the story?
No, I don't know the story. I know he wasn't. I saw his name.
Anyway.
I saw his name, had no clue, started writing up the blog thing, and saw Jingle All the Way. That's all I know. I have to finish the notes.
I mean, you know what? I get it.
I have to finish the blog after this.
I get it. But they started to have marriage troubles as well, because, you know, it's kind of seems like a pattern.
Okay.
Brynn was apparently intimidated by his success and frustrated that she was not as successful.
Oh, I get that.
She was jealous and very verbally and sometimes physically abusive.
No, that's not okay. That's not okay. No. I don't like that.
As the months went by, Phil started to withdraw emotionally from the marriage. And, quote, there was a pattern of fighting, making up, fighting, and making up. And they would mark their relationship from there on out. So,
okay,
it's just typical. Brynn sent a letter to his ex-wife, because when they had their son,
fucking letter,
his ex-wife actually, because they were still him and his ex-wife were still on good, like, they were still friends.
Okay.
She found out that his, you know, Brynn was pregnant, had a boy, and she was like, oh my gosh, she wrote a beautiful note, sent a baby gift, like, wishing you the best. Brynn sent a letter back to ex-wife threatening to rip her eyes out if she spoke to Phil again.
What the fuck? Are you serious?
Hey, yes, congratulations on your son's birth. Hey,
thank you. Go fuck yourself.
Suck a dick. Go, like.
Thanks for the gift.
That's kind of how it
contact
went.
Me again. Oh my god.
So the ex-wife was kind of like,
much?
okay, got it. Okay, like, I was just saying it was really wonderful. Got it. Okay.
And why are we sending?
Brynn also had.
I would have called.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a matter she didn't want to. I guess maybe to send the gift, or like it was kind of like, hey, it's my new, like, it's my ex's new wife. So I don't know. It's kind of weird, but like,
if they were so friendly,
yeah, you would think so. But I guess I don't know. Either way, she was like, noted, never going to call again.
I'm done with you. Yep.
So got it. So Brynn had trouble controlling her anger,
really?
And Phil had even said he had to restrain her at times. Now, if you see the 2 of them, she's very small and petite.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not that, like, for him to just kind of like be like, all right, chill out. But, like, And also, in order to end their fights, a lot of the time, Phil would withdraw, go to sleep, preferring to be like, okay, let's cool off and be done. And then, and sometimes, you know what? There is always that thing where it's like, don't go to bed mad. But at the same time, maybe we need time to cool off, be separated, and then we're okay.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. Sometimes you need to walk away and gather yourself and come back
before you say something hurtful. So, and now this could be seen as I don't want to talk, I don't want to communicate, but it could also be seen as I don't want to say something I'm going to regret later. So, I get it. Phil considered retiring from acting in order to keep his marriage because she was that angry and jealous of his career.
Get the fuck over it. Be happy. Yeah. That's not
right.
No, that's not okay.
Bro, you guys are a happy family.
Yeah, seriously, you're fucking it up for no reason.
You're a team. So his happiness and his success you should be like, wow, that's awesome. Not fuck that. I wish I had that. Okay,
yeah, he's your husband. Let him make them. I know you want to do it, but let him make the money, and you just hang out.
Right. Exactly. Just hang out.
Just hang out. If he's making enough and everything's fine, and you guys are happy.
He was on SNL. Okay,
he was in Jingle All the Way.
Which, how much money did that movie really make?
I don't know. I'm gonna Google it while you're talking.
What? You know what? It's a fantastic movie. I know that it's not really. It's a great
masterpiece.
Movie. It's the best Christmas movie.
I won't say it's the best, but it's definitely in my top 5.
On many occasions, he actually had to remove the kids from the house to stay with family or friends because she was on her drug and alcohol fueled outbursts. No. Because again, she was sober, but of course she fell back in. There were friends of his that said that she got pulled back in by other famous actors and just things started to escalate. Who knows what the reason was? Either way, could have just been a mix of things.
Yeah.
So he did try to get her work. So it's not like he was like, oh, by the way, I'm just successful. He did try to help her. But she became so dependent on alcohol and narcotics.
Yeah.
And she was in and out of rehab. So he was it was very hard, especially during that time when you're doing all this acting and all this stuff. And it's like, oh, sorry, you have to go back. It's just very tough. So
I can't. Oh, my God.
His friends on multiple occasions said you should divorce her. Now, whether it was because he didn't want this to end the way the previous marriages has, whether it was because of the kids, he just was like, I don't want to leave. I want to see how.
I want to make this work.
I want. Exactly. And see how we can make this work. Well, May 27th, 1998. Brynn went to an Italian restaurant in Encino, California for dinner. She had a couple drinks with a friend who said she was in a great state of mind. Everything was wonderful. It wasn't like she was day drunk and she came home a sloppy mess.
Oh, I love that.
She's fine.
Well, we should day drink one day. I'm kind of in the mood for that.
You know what?
It's getting warm. Day drinking would be great. I'm ready.
Day drinking is crazy because you're like, what the hell time is it? It's only 4:00. What the fuck?
You have your
hammered already.
By the time your hangover comes, you're asleep. You're fine the next day. It's amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah, we need to do that
so it would be fun. Yeah. So in this case, Brynn wasn't like this. Okay. She wasn't a sloppy mess. Everything was fine. So when she got home, she and Phil got into an argument.
Just be happy.
After this, he went to bed, did his whole, okay, let's leave this for tomorrow, see how we feel. Later on,
you're getting to that. You're doing that thing. You're doing that thing where you're starting to get serious as you're talking. So I know something bad is coming, and I don't love that. I don't love that.
You're doing the thing.
You're doing that thing again. I'm waiting for the sigh. The sigh is gonna come. The Jenn sigh is going to come.
You know what? The sigh is coming within the next 2 sentences. So it's funny that you.
I'm ready.
I don't even mean to do it. I don't even mean to do it. It just happens. It's just. So later on, it was said that Brynn was on Zoloft. So again. Okay,
oh my God! It numbs you out. She shouldn't be this upset about everything. Up your dose. Go put your feet in the grass. Walk on grass.
But she was drinking and also using cocaine. So I feel like that's a little...
Oh my God, don't do that.
It doesn't mix well with that. So Now, after the whole argument, 3 a.m., she goes, you know what? I'm done. She enters Phil's bedroom.
No.
And she shoots him between the eyes and once in the throat.
Oh, why? Oh, God. Ah, my neck. Okay, hold on.
And once in the upper chest with a .38 caliber Smith & Wesson model. He died instantly.
Pants. Oh, I hate it. Why?
Yeah.
Just because they had a fight? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what were you thinking?
Yeah. So,
what about your... Oh, my God. What an idiot.
And the crazy thing...
I don't like her.
The kids were...
No! Sorry, I'm so loud right now. Oh, my God. No, I don't.
Fine.
I don't like that. Tell her no. What the fuck? Is she in jail?
Well,
tell me she's in jail. I'm sorry. Finish your story. I'm sorry. I'm not okay. I'm not okay.
She actually called her friend Rob Douglas an hour later.
What'd she do for
after
an hour?
She consumed more alcohol. She consumed more alcohol. I don't know if it was like, holy fucking shit, and then she just, I don't know. For
Shooting
an hour,
people would
she
probably
waited.
make you thirsty.
I mean, I don't know. But
Did
it would make you a lot of things.
Did they check her for gun hand residue? What is that called? Gunshot residue.
Gunshot residue.
Did they check her?
You know
We're
what?
not there yet.
Probably.
Did they? Because that's a thing.
Probably.
Missouri.
Because you know what? Some places in Missouri,
whatever
it's
that
not
town
a thing.
was, it's a fucking
not
thing.
to go back. Not to go back. But man.
Not to rehash the past. But.
Oh my God, that was on one of I think day 1 of our Midwest road trip. So that's what we keep referencing.
Oh my God.
They don't believe in it.
It's not a thing. Fucking lies.
No. So she calls her friend Rob and she confesses to the murder. She's like, holy shit, this happened. And he's like, I'm used to her dramatic outbursts. She's being kind of manic right now. I don't believe her. So he's like, okay, why don't you go back to sleep?
Why would she lie about shooting her husband?
See, honestly, that is where I also was like, I get that this, like, you might be friends with this person. They are very dramatic and very manic. This is not something you would have heard before. So, like, he was like, okay, go back to sleep.
I mean, I get it when you're like, oh my God, my husband did whatever, I want to kill him. Like, I get, like, people say that. I understand that. But if somebody's like, dude,
but not,
I
holy
fucking
shit,
shot
this
him.
Is what happened.
He's dead. He's dead. Like, if I, oh yeah, no.
Well, it doesn't matter because 20 minutes later, Brynn showed up at his house. and she smelled of alcohol. And again, was like, I killed him. This is and she's holding the revolver that she used.
Oh
so the guy's God. Like,
put that down.
All right. But the greatest, okay. He still wasn't really on board with the story.
Do I have to bring the dead body to you? Like, what do you need for me to help me?
I don't know. This to me, when they were like, yeah, he still didn't believe her. I'm like,
my head hurts.
You know,
like, dude.
Well, he was like, okay, we'll go back to your house and see, and whatever. So they drove back to the house in different cars. And then in the meantime, she called another friend and confessed. And this friend was like, holy shit, and called the cops.
Thank God someone has a fucking brain.
So when Rob walked in, he was like, well, all right, saw what happened and was like, oh shit, you actually did this.
Duh.
Yeah, I did. So, okay. The police came and they had to take the 2 kids, 9 and 6 years old, off the premises. They were sleeping in their rooms. She hadn't done anything to them, but they were on the property when she did shoot him 3 times, which is so heartbreaking.
I don't like that.
When the police asked, because of course you have to interview the
Did
kids.
the kids hear anything?
The 9-year-old said the gunshots sounded like a door being slammed over and over. And because their parents fought all the time, I guess it just made sense that they were like, okay, I don't know. And he's 9. What did he, I don't think he would know. So
sad right now.
In between that time, so between the time that she came home, her friend called the police escorted her kids out. Brynn locked herself in the bathroom and was like, and they're trying to be like, all right, what's happening here? But she had locked herself in the bathroom.
What did she think that was going to do?
Well,
No.
she was.
No.
Yeah.
What? The sigh.
So, with with another revolver, which I don't know where she keeps finding these things, she had locked herself in the bathroom and she ended up taking her own life because there was screaming, there was crying, there was all kinds of stuff, and the police were trying to get her outside, but she was refusing to come out, and then of course that happened. And
oh my God, her children.
Yeah, right. The police stated Phil's death was caused by domestic discord.
No shit.
Okay, that's making it light, but okay. After his death, because of how incredible he was and how many lives he really wasn't he touched, his friends and coworkers were devastated.
I'm devastated.
So they gathered they gathered at John Lovett's home. John Lovett's again, fantastic. He was really good friends with him. So they
I could see that, honestly.
Met together. Right? So they gathered at his house like that a couple days later. One person said everyone started off telling stories about him, and then all of a sudden everybody just started to lose it because they're just like, now he's like gone. Now it's gone. He's gone.
Oh my God, my heart.
Yeah. Brynn's brother, Gregory Omdahl, whatever, filed a wrongful death suit in 1999 against Pfizer, who manufactures Zoloft, and his sister's psychiatrist, who provided the antidepressant. I don't think that's Zoloft's fault, but I'm just, again...
No, maybe we should have given her something else, or upped her dose, or gave her like a...
Perhaps she shouldn't have had cocaine along with it.
Oh yeah, you should really follow the directions. Like, you're not supposed to drink when you're on it either.
You're not supposed to drink. You're not supposed to...
Are we gonna sue Jack Daniels too, or whatever she was drinking that night? Like...
Well, see, her brother was just like, oh, because she's on this prescription, because
he lost, right? Like, he did not win.
Oh yeah, okay. Pfizer later, Pfizer settled because they were like, they admitted no wrongdoing, but they just were like, okay,
here's
fine,
some money,
whatever.
go away.
Like, I don't know what you want. Like,
I think I would have fought that one and been like, go fuck yourself. That would have been the one I fought.
I agree. Some of Phil's friends and coworkers claimed it was Andy Dick who reintroduced Brynn to cocaine.
I fucking hate that guy. Andy Dick. Yep. What a dick. He fucked around with Wine and Crime one night. Did you ever hear that story? Oh my God. They were doing a live.
I did not.
They were doing a live and they were like, Andy Dick wants to come in. And they thought it was somebody else. Like, they thought it was a different actor. So Andy Dick comes on stage and is like molesting Kenyon. And they were like, okay, you need to leave now. Like, it was bad. Like, he like went up on stage with them and they were like, ew, this is not your show, go away.
That's disgusting.
Oh my God, I love that story. I listen to that episode all the fucking time.
I don't think that anybody really likes him.
I don't even think his wife likes him.
Doesn't
he live in like a bus on, like, in the driveway at his house because his ex-wife hates him, or like his wife hates him? Like, it's like, go away.
I don't know. But it was kind of like mentioned, and actually John Lovitz and him almost got into a fist fight because he was blaming him. He was like, you're the reason why she got re-addicted to cocaine. And that was the reason why, it turned into a breakdown and everything else. And they almost got into a full-on fist fight.
I could say
yeah. And I mean, you know what? I'm going to take John Lovitz on this one.
I'm with John Lovett. I'm in.
I'm gonna put my money on him to win that fight.
I do too.
So, Brynn's sister and brother-in-law raised the two kids. Phil's will stipulated each child would inherit money over several years after turning 25.
Okay.
The total value of his estate was estimated to be $1.23 million.
Nice.
And Phil has been remembered as one of the greatest comedy and television talents. In 2015, Rolling Stones named him one of the 10 greatest SNL performers in the 40-year history. So, I mean, he did not deserve to die like that.
Do you know what an asshole I am? We were watching Jingle All the Way this year, And I actually said to Ken, I was like, why didn't he make it? Like, where is he? Like, where did he go? And me and Ken were like, we have no idea. We never even Googled it. Like, we're just like, oh, I guess he, like, retired. Like, he's dead. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, rest in peace. What, like, he really was such a good actor. I can't believe, like, all this shit you just said.
It's what's really interesting is like my brother and I were obsessed with Small Soldiers. Again,
terrible.
It's not a great movie, but it's a great movie. Okay. Anyway, so it wasn't shortly after that this whole thing happened, and every so often you hear people be like, "Oh yeah, his wife killed him," and you're just like,
I never knew that.
And you feel so bad because like he seemed so harmless. Like he just seemed like, yeah, he's
a
Troy McClure
dick,
from The Simpsons. He plays the, you know, the terrible dad who's really super creepy on Jingle All the Way. But like, you know, it's just so sad because there were two kids, and the fact that you can clearly tell she wasn't in the right mind because the kids were there. It's not like, so, and it's unfortunate. Mental health probably had a little bit to do with that. Also, again, as Sam said, read the directions. You can't really mix Zoloft with cocaine. It's not really good.
Don't mix anything. Just don't do cocaine. Don't do it. It's not good. It's not good for you. I mean, I've never done it, so I don't really know what it feels like. But it can't feel better than the fucking up of your life that it does. You know what I mean? Same thing with meth. Like, I understand people are like, oh my God, meth, it's so great. It's so... But look at what happens to your teeth. Is it really worth it to rot your teeth like that?
I mean, look at Richard Ramirez. That's the biggest PSA. We always come back to Richard Ramirez. But that's our biggest.
He looks like he had a smell.
But that is our biggest PSA of like, don't do cocaine, don't do meth. Like, you'll turn into this guy.
I mean, weed's okay. Everything else, don't do it. It's not worth it.
It's not worth the pain that it can cause, especially if you are dealing with mental health issues. It's not going to mix well.
Never does. So we've all been there. Don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah. But we love you. Oh my God. So, wow. Okay. What a great story. Like, okay, that's not right. You told the story.
Your story was better because it didn't have a lot of tragedy. It had tragedy, but it's conspiracy tragedy.
1,000 people.
You know what I'm trying to say.
No, I get it. I understand completely.
You know what I'm trying to say. Yours was like, I'm going into conspiracy. I'm not talking about the death. Me, I'm like, I'm just going to go hardcore into true crime.
You went there. I love that for you. I love how you told the story, but the story is really sad. Does that make sense? I say it every week.
It is really sad.
You did a great job.
I know.
It's not the story is great. The story's really sad, but you did a great job telling it. Thank you.
But I think you did a great job, too, with the conspiracies because I didn't know a lot of those conspiracies. So I learned a lot today.
I think an alien put the iceberg there just to see what would happen.
You know what? That's the other theory that we were missing.
That's the new theory. Spread it around.
They were like, let's see what happens.
What happens to a boat when this is put here. No, they had like 6 or 7 warnings of icebergs in the area, especially this particular iceberg. And they were like, no, we're fine. It's cool. And that whole thing with the
we'll figure
engines,
it out.
Like, there's so much I could talk about that. Like, for hours and hours and hours.
Right.
We need to stop because we're already in an hour and 18. We love you so much. Thank you for listening. Yeah. Make sure you come back again. Tell your friends. Come hang out on social media. We are on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. If you want to join the YouTube, make sure you click the bell so you know when we put stuff out. If you want to see our pictures and our blog and all of our sources that we use for today's episode, make sure you go to our website, deathbeforeboost.com. If you are all caught up and want more of our craziness, go to our Patreon. Subscriptions start at $5 a month, but we totally understand that, times are hard and you don't have to subscribe. Please just keep supporting us how you are. But we would love you to join us on Patreon. What else is there?
And start some conversations because some of you guys just comment, and I'm always like, oh my God, I love talking back with people. It's great. It's great.
Amazing.
I love it.
Feel free to email us at deathbeforeboost@gmail.com. You can go to our website for some of our merch. Just click the merch page and pick out what you want. And I think I covered everything. If I didn't, I'm really sorry, but I love you guys so much, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, love you guys. Stay spooky. Love ya.